involved and access it. This is a continual challenge, and one that our companies all feel that they would like to see step up to the next level. Hand in hand with the technology issue are the twin issues of measurement and evaluation. Generally, companies do measure the basics. How many people participated, how many projects were done, how many NGOs do we partner with, those kind of things, those kinds of counting and outputs. But now, companies are asking, are we making a difference? What is the impact that we're making? And wanting to know if it is really making that impact. This, as can be expected, is a more complicated issue than just counting the outputs. And many companies are looking actually to their NGO partners for help with determining this impact, as so many NGOs already have really good ways of measuring the impact that their particular organization is having in the community. Some also are investing in other independent models to help them with this important issue, and industries are even rising out of this need for measuring impact. Additionally, companies are looking for impact amongst their own employees. Do these activities and the fact that the company is promoting and supporting these activities actually make a difference to you, the employee? And while employee surveys, which many companies do, may note some of these reactions, they need to find ways to dig deeper into this, because so many companies do have goals around loyalty, around retention issues, and wanting employees to feel connected to the company. So this is an area for growth for sure. Another topic that came up, and I love this one, is that companies seem to be very interested now in collaborating with one another. We've talked about NGO collaboration, hugely important, but they're interested in collaborating with one another, even those within their own sector. It feels to me like a very positive trend, and one that can have really good implications for communities around the world, and also in terms of the global perspective of what the corporate sector is really about. Do they really care? Can they put aside differences and the competitive industry rivalries to take the higher road? Well, I personally do believe that they can and that they are, and more companies are showing that every day. One of those companies that is embarking upon this path of change and growth is the Eli Lilly Company. And here to share about their perspective is Sherry Bosson. She's the Director of Community Outreach and Employee Engagement and Vice President of the Eli Lilly and Company Foundation. Sherry?
Good morning, everyone. Eli Lilly and Company has a strong history, 135-year history, of giving very strongly in the world of philanthropy and our product donations in diabetes, oncology, and mental health. However, what was less known is the strong commitment our employees have had in giving back to the community through their volunteer time. So, in the past 3 years, Lilly, and what I'm going to actually touch on is what Sarah alluded to, is that technology aspect. We realized we needed a way to enable our employees who had this strong commitment and volunteerism to have a tool to record what they were doing, or a way for them to reach out to each other to seek help in their own volunteer projects. A way for them to also share their stories. And lastly, a way for us, as we're really trying to embark on some signature volunteer programs globally, to share the stories, to share the way for them to come onto a portal and to understand, sign up, get t-shirts. So we embarked on a pretty strategic mission to launch what we called our Lilly Hands and Hearts database. This database provided that vehicle, especially for our U.S. employees, to do just what we said, and it was very successful. But as Sarah also alluded, it's very difficult to get employees to come onto that database and get familiarized with it. So we embarked on a Lilly Global Day of Service, where our employees, 40,000 worldwide, in one day came together to give back to the communities in which they serve. That was the incentive for them to go on the database. So you have to kind of find marketing ways and incentives to get people to come on and use and become familiar with your technology. So we also, as we thought about the world and in getting our global employees engaged in the technology space, we created what we called the bridge, a way to, break down those external borders that exist and invite all employees from around the world to come onto this portal and share what they're doing. And back to that whole inspiration notion that Monica mentioned. How do we inspire one another then if we share our stories? We're also capturing ways for them to give financially on this portal. And it's amazing how the world shrunk, how people decided they wanted everyone around the world to know what they were doing. They began recognizing each other as significant volunteers. But one other thing we wanted to capture on this portal were the metrics. We realized that in order to demonstrate real value of our volunteer program, we needed a way to capture the value we were adding to the community. It's easy to go and tutor, to play with children, but in order to demonstrate to our leadership that what we're doing and the investment we're making in our employees was adding value, we needed some metrics to show that. So there are two areas. One was at our global employees with the incidents with errors in medicines and hospitals. Our Six Sigma program that looks at efficiencies, we had an entire group of employees volunteer with the Hospital Association to assess this big dilemma for a lot of hospitals around the world. And they came up with a system to help hospitals look at their pharmacy and how they're recording their medicine usage to decrease this error. And this is a methodology that has now been deployed in other hospitals. Another way we're using the metric is through our tutoring program. We actually have a pilot group where we're not doing tutoring with, and another group that we're doing tutoring with, so that we can look at the statistics to say, have we actually made a difference in this effort? And so we really work very hard with all of our partners, through the NGOs, through the government sector, to say, when we embark on a project, what is the problem that we're even trying to solve by volunteering and working together? So if you can identify what the problem is and what you're trying to say, what would success look like, then how would you ultimately measure that? So every one of the signature projects that we're investing time and resources in, we have to have metrics in place, and over the course of time we track and follow that. So it's very exciting to be able to share that with you today. Thank you.